I once saw an image that struck me deeply. An office worker battling through a chaotic morning, eating breakfast on the run, arriving late to work, and suffering stomach pain from skipped meals. Does that sound familiar? It was a reflection of my life 10 years ago, and perhaps it mirrors yours now. Back then, I tried to change. I attempted to adopt better habits, but I failed repeatedly. After just 3 or 4 days, I would give up, overwhelmed by discomfort and self-doubt. It felt easier to return to the chaos, convincing myself that change was impossible. But over time, I realized those early days of struggle weren't a sign of failure. They were the price of growth. When I approached these habits with renewed commitment, I discovered something extraordinary. I completed a 7-day challenge, one step at a time. By the end, I felt transformed, more focused, energized, and grounded. That was just the beginning. For 10 years now, I've practiced these habits daily. They have shaped me into the person I am today, a leader, a director of a thriving company, and someone who teaches these habits to my team during workshops. These simple, powerful practices aren't just routines. They are foundations for a life of purpose and balance. In this video, I'll share the habits that changed my life, rooted in the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Like this video, subscribe to Stoic Narratives Official, and join me on a journey of transformation. These habits could be the start of something incredible for you too. 1. Waking up early. I know how comforting those early morning hours between 4 to 7 a.m. can feel. The warmth of your bed, the softness of your pillow, it's hard to resist. I was just like you. Each morning the alarm would ring incessantly, and I'd hit snooze, telling myself just 5 more minutes. But those minutes turned into a rushed, chaotic start to the day. I found myself scrambling, barely managing to get ready, skipping breakfast, and diving headfirst into a whirlwind of responsibilities. The mornings were a blur, and before I knew it, the day was over. I felt as though life was slipping past me, one hurried day at a time. Then I stumbled upon a principle rooted in Stoic wisdom: control what you can control. I realized that my mornings, the very beginning of each day, were mine to shape. That's when I decided to try waking up early. The first few days were anything but easy. My body resisted, clinging to the comfort of sleep. Each time my alarm rang at 5 a.m., it felt like an impossible challenge. But I persisted. By the 3rd day, something shifted. The stillness of the morning embraced me, a silence so profound that it felt as though the world belonged to me alone. I began to fill those hours with intentionality. Instead of rushing, I found myself savoring the quiet. A few moments of light stretching awakened my body. A short meditation cleared my mind. And then, a cup of freshly brewed coffee became a ritual, not a necessity. I could finally sit, breathe, and reflect. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your mornings are within your control. By choosing to wake up early, you're reclaiming a precious part of your day, one that is often stolen by distractions or demands. I vividly remember the first time this habit truly paid off. One morning as I sipped my coffee, I watched the sunrise from my balcony. The sky transitioned from soft lavender to glowing gold, and for the first time in a long while, I felt connected to something larger than myself. It was a simple moment, yet it filled me with an overwhelming sense of gratitude. How to make it work for you? If you're not a morning person, don't worry. I wasn't either. Start small. Move your alarm back by just 15 minutes each day. Prepare for your morning the night before. Lay out your clothes, write down your goals, and decide on your first activity. The key is consistency. Use those extra moments to center yourself. Whether it's journaling, meditating, or simply enjoying a quiet breakfast, make your mornings purposeful. Let them set the tone for your day, not the other way around. Since adopting this habit, I feel like my days have expanded. I no longer wake up feeling rushed or overwhelmed. Instead, my mornings are calm, deliberate, and fulfilling. I start my day sipping coffee instead of scrambling out the door, and that simple change has transformed how I approach everything else. Waking up early isn't just about having more time. It's about using that time to create the life you want. And the best part? The day feels long enough for everything you value, not just your work, but also your growth, peace, and joy. 2. Daily exercise. Physical activity is one of the simplest yet most transformative habits you can adopt. For years, I convinced myself that exercise was optional, a luxury I could forgo on busy days. But I realized that neglecting my body was also neglecting my mind. The Stoics often emphasize the harmony between physical and mental discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The body is an extension of the mind. Treat it well to strengthen both." I've always enjoyed running, but like many, I preferred jogging in the evening after work. It felt like a way to unwind, and I thought mornings were best reserved for rest. However, during my 7-day challenge to transform my habits, I decided to integrate daily exercise into my morning routine. On the second day of this experiment, I set my alarm early, laced up my sneakers, and stepped outside as the sun was just rising. The air was crisp, the streets quiet, and the world seemed untouched by the day's chaos. It was nothing short of magical. The experience was unlike anything I had felt before. Running in the morning wasn't just exercise. It was a moment of peace, a time to connect with myself before the world's demands set in. Each step felt purposeful, grounding me in the present moment. By the time I returned home, I was energized, my thoughts clear, and my mood uplifted. This newfound rhythm became a keystone of my challenge, reinforcing that movement is not just physical, it is deeply mental. The Stoic principle of logos, living in harmony with nature, reminds us that our bodies are made to move. Physical activity is not just about burning calories or building strength, it's about reconnecting with the flow of life. When you move, you align yourself with the natural rhythm of existence. If running isn't for you, don't worry. The beauty of exercise is its flexibility. Choose a form of movement that feels right for you. Whether it's yoga in your living room, a brisk walk around your neighborhood, or even a few minutes of stretching, what matters is consistency. If your environment isn't ideal for outdoor activities, adapt. The key is to move, to remind yourself that your body is a gift meant to be cared for. During my 7-day challenge, I encouraged a friend who felt trapped in a cycle of stress to start with light yoga every morning. She hesitated at first, worried about her lack of flexibility. But within that same week, she noticed a profound change. Her mornings became calmer, her focus sharper, and her mood more positive. Exercise didn't just transform her body, it brought her clarity and peace. When you take time to move your body, you're telling yourself that your well-being matters. Exercise is an act of self-respect, a way to honor the life you've been given. It clears the mind, uplifts the spirit, and prepares you to face challenges with resilience. As part of my 7-day challenge, this habit reminded me of the power of small, consistent actions. In those quiet moments of movement, you'll find a strength that extends far beyond the physical, a strength that brings balance, focus, and joy to every part of your day. 3. Journaling. In this fast-paced age, journaling often feels like a luxury, a practice reserved for those with endless free time. I used to think the same. My life was filled with work and distractions, and I couldn't imagine pausing to put my thoughts on paper. But during my 7-day challenge to adopt new habits, I gave journaling a chance. What I discovered wasn't just a habit, it was a lifeline. On the 3rd day of my challenge, I walked into a bookstore, found a simple notebook, and decided to make it my companion. The first night, I sat down, unsure of what to write. My mind felt cluttered, and the blank page stared back at me. Then, slowly, I began to pour out my thoughts. What made me happy that day, what challenges I faced, and how those moments made me feel. It was like opening a window in a room that had been closed for too long. Journaling isn't just about recording your day, it's about reflecting on it. As I continued this practice, I started to notice patterns, things I worried about unnecessarily, moments of joy I had overlooked, and areas where I could grow. This simple act of writing became a way to understand myself better and to navigate my emotions with clarity. The Stoics, too, believed in the power of reflection. Seneca wrote, "Each day we should call ourselves to account. At night, I examine my conscience. I review what I have done and said." Journaling is this daily account, a conversation with yourself, free from judgment, where you can uncover truths hidden beneath the surface. Getting started is simpler than you think. Head to a bookstore or grab any notebook you have at home. Choose one that feels personal, as though it's waiting for your thoughts. Each night, dedicate just 10 minutes. Write about your day. The highlights, the struggles, the lessons learned. Don't worry about being perfect. This is for you and no one else. If you're stuck, start with questions. What made me smile today? What challenged me? How did I grow? Over time, you'll find your voice flowing more naturally. That notebook will become a space where you can be entirely yourself. A friend of mine once told me she felt like her life was slipping by unnoticed. I suggested she start journaling, even if it was just a sentence a day. A week later, she thanked me, saying, "I didn't realize how much was happening in my life until I wrote it down." That small practice gave her a new appreciation for her own journey. Why it matters. Journaling is more than words on a page. It's a mirror reflecting your innermost self, a place to acknowledge your struggles and celebrate your victories. Through this practice, I learned to untangle my thoughts, gain perspective, and embrace gratitude. If you think journaling isn't for you, try it for just 1 week. You may find that those quiet moments with pen and paper offer something unexpected. A deeper connection to yourself and a clearer path forward. And in that clarity, you'll discover strength and peace. 4. Mindful eating. As an office worker with endless tasks and a rushed morning routine, discipline in eating was almost non-existent for me. Most days, breakfast was an afterthought, a quick bite while scrolling through emails or sometimes skipped altogether. My eating habits were reactive, driven by convenience and stress, rather than intentional care. However, during my 7-day challenge, the combination of waking up early and exercising introduced me to a surprising opportunity, the chance to sit down and truly enjoy a proper meal. That first mindful breakfast was a revelation. I had woken up early, completed a light jog, and sat at my table with a simple meal: toast, eggs, and a warm cup of tea. The difference was in how I approached it. For the first time, I wasn't multitasking. I wasn't rushing. I was fully present, savoring every bite. It felt like more than just a meal. It was an act of self-respect, a moment of gratitude for my body. In our fast-paced lives, eating has become something we do on autopilot. The Stoics, however, teach us the importance of moderation and awareness. Epictetus once said, "Be moderate in order to taste the joys of life in abundance." Eating mindfully embodies this principle. It's about slowing down, appreciating nourishment, and aligning your habits with the rhythm of life. By taking time to savor each bite, I noticed how much more satisfied I felt. My digestion improved, and my energy was steadier throughout the day. I realized that it wasn't just the food nourishing me, it was the act of paying attention to the experience. How to practice mindful eating. Mindful eating doesn't require fancy meals or a perfect setting. It starts with removing distractions. Turn off your phone, close your laptop, and dedicate this time to yourself. Begin each meal by taking a few deep breaths, centering yourself in the present moment. Take small bites, chew slowly, and notice the flavors and textures. With each bite, think about the effort that brought the food to your plate, the farmers, the cooks, even yourself. This reflection adds depth to the act of eating and fosters gratitude. If mornings are chaotic for you, start small. Prepare a simple breakfast the night before, something you can sit with for 5 minutes and enjoy without haste. The key is intentionality, not perfection. Why it matters. Mindful eating is more than a way to nourish your body, it's a way to honor it. By taking the time to appreciate your meals, you remind yourself that you are worthy of care and attention. It's a simple practice that can transform how you feel physically, mentally, and emotionally. Start tomorrow. Sit down with your meal, even if it's just a slice of toast. Let it be a moment for yourself, free from the chaos of the world. You might discover that in nourishing your body with intention, you also nourish your soul. 5. Limiting screen time. Tell me, can you say, "I will live well even without my phone"? It's tough, isn't it? In today's world, screens have become an inseparable part of our lives. Phones, laptops, and tablets are ever present, and their allure is hard to resist. I was no exception. Every free moment I had, I'd instinctively reach for my phone, scrolling through endless feeds or checking emails. It felt productive at times, but deep down, I knew it was draining me, stealing my focus, my time, and my peace of mind. When I started my 7-day challenge, I knew this habit had to change. On the very first day, I made a small but powerful commitment to limit my non-essential screen time to just 1 hour a day. It sounded simple, but the reality was far from easy. Every time I felt the urge to check my phone, I reminded myself of what I was missing: connection, clarity, and moments of stillness. Screens can feel indispensable, but they come at a cost. The constant barrage of notifications and endless scrolling fragments our attention and distances us from the present moment. Seneca warned us of this centuries ago, saying, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." How much of our time is wasted on things that don't truly matter? By limiting my screen time, I found myself rediscovering joys I had forgotten. I replaced my mindless scrolling with 30 minutes of reading each day. I returned to a book that had been sitting on my shelf for months, immersing myself in its pages without the distraction of my phone. It wasn't just relaxing, it was liberating. How to set boundaries. Limiting screen time doesn't mean cutting yourself off entirely. It's about setting intentional boundaries. Start by creating screen-free zones in your day, perhaps during meals, in the first hour after waking up, or right before bed. Turn off non-essential notifications and leave your phone in another room when you need to focus. Replace screen time with activities that recharge you. Read a book, write in a journal, take a walk, or simply sit in silence. These moments of intentional disconnection allow you to reconnect with yourself and the world around you. By reducing our dependence on screens, we reclaim our focus, our time, and our peace of mind. This isn't just about productivity. It's about choosing to live deliberately, to spend our time on what truly matters. The next time you reach for your phone, pause. Ask yourself, is this adding value to my life? You might find that what you truly need is already around you, waiting for you to notice. 6. Cultivating a positive mindset. I am someone who often overthinks. My mind gravitates toward the negative, replaying moments of frustration or regret like a broken record. It's a habit that has stolen countless hours of sleep and peace. For years, I thought this was simply who I was, someone destined to wrestle with these thoughts. But during my 7-day challenge, I decided to confront this cycle. I wanted to see if I could shift my perspective, even just a little, to embrace the positive. On the 4th day of the challenge, I took a simple yet transformative step. I began actively seeking the good in every situation. When my project at work faced unexpected delays, I stopped myself from spiraling into frustration. Instead, I asked, what can I learn from this? It wasn't easy. My instincts resisted, pulling me back to negativity. But with practice, I discovered the power of reframing my thoughts. The Stoics teach us that while we cannot control external events, we can always control our response to them. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you shift your perspective, you reclaim power over your emotions and actions. It's not about pretending bad things don't exist. It's about finding meaning and growth in them. For example, I once spilled coffee on an important report minutes before a meeting. My initial reaction was panic and self-blame. But as I cleaned up the mess, I reminded myself, this is an opportunity to practice patience. It was a small incident, but choosing to see it differently helped me move forward without dwelling on frustration. How to cultivate a positive mindset. Building a positive mindset doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means acknowledging challenges while choosing to focus on solutions and gratitude. Here are simple steps to get started. Pause and reflect. When faced with a difficult situation, take a moment to breathe. Ask yourself, what can I control here? Reframe negative thoughts. Instead of saying, this is impossible, try, this is a challenge I can grow from. Practice gratitude. Each day, write down 3 things you're thankful for, no matter how small. This habit rewires your brain to notice the good around you. I once shared this practice with a colleague who struggled with constant self-doubt. She started by writing down 1 positive thing about herself each evening. Over time, she noticed a shift. It felt strange at first, she admitted, but now I catch myself looking for positives even in tough situations. Her transformation reminded me of the profound impact of small changes. Choosing positivity doesn't erase challenges, but it equips you with resilience to face them. Negativity is easy, it's everywhere, but choosing to see the good is an act of courage and self-mastery. It's a habit that strengthens your mind and brings peace to your heart. The next time negativity creeps in, pause. Remind yourself of the Stoic principle. What stands in the way becomes the way. In every shadow, there is light waiting to be seen. Look for it, and you'll find a path forward. 7. Saying thank you and apologizing. This may be the one habit I urge you to practice above all others. It's simple, yet its impact extends far beyond yourself. By mastering the art of saying thank you and I'm sorry, you not only elevate your character, but also inspire others to view the world and you with greater respect and warmth. From a young age, I was taught to say thank you when helped and apologize when I was wrong. It was second nature, instilled in me by the gentle reminders of my parents. Yet, as I grew older, those words began to fade. Life became busy, and I assumed people would understand my gratitude or overlook my mistakes without my acknowledgement. But they didn't, and I didn't either. This habit of silence left a gap in my relationships, one I only noticed when I consciously returned to these simple words. Gratitude and humility are cornerstones of Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, give thanks for the food and for the joy of living. If you see no reason to give thanks, the fault lies in yourself." A thank you acknowledges not just the act, but the effort and intent behind it. It's a way of saying, I see you, and I value what you've done. Equally important is the ability to apologize. Seneca said, "A great mind is not disturbed by the admission of its faults." An apology isn't a sign of weakness. It's a strength that rebuilds trust and fosters connection. It shows that you hold yourself accountable, a rare quality in today's world. How I rebuilt this habit. During my 7-day challenge, I made it a point to practice this habit every day. It wasn't easy at first. There were moments when pride tempted me to stay silent, or when rushing past a favor seemed more convenient. But I reminded myself of what I had lost by not speaking up. The opportunity to build bridges, to connect, to leave someone's day better than I found it. One morning, a colleague helped me solve a problem I had been struggling with for days. Instead of a casual nod, I looked him in the eye and said, "Thank you for taking the time to help me. I appreciate it." His surprised smile reminded me how rare and powerful those words can be. Later that week, I apologized to a friend for a misunderstanding I had brushed off weeks before. It wasn't an easy conversation, but the relief and warmth it brought to both of us was worth every word. How to start practicing. This habit doesn't require grand gestures. Begin with the small, everyday moments. Say thank you to the barista for your coffee or the colleague who holds the door. When you make a mistake, own it quickly and sincerely, without excuses. These small actions accumulate into a character of integrity and kindness. In a world that often prioritizes speed and self-interest, pausing to express gratitude or offer an apology can feel revolutionary. It strengthens relationships, fosters trust, and reminds both you and others of the humanity we share. The next time you're tempted to stay silent, remember this. A simple thank you or I'm sorry has the power to change someone's day, and your own. These words may seem small, but they are the foundation of a life filled with meaning, connection, and respect. As we come to the end of this journey, let us pause to reflect on the lessons we've explored together. These 7 habits, waking up early, exercising daily, journaling, mindful eating, limiting screen time, cultivating a positive mindset, and practicing gratitude and humility, are not just actions. They are pathways to a life of purpose, peace, and growth. Each habit carries with it the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy. To focus on what we can control, to embrace challenges as opportunities, and to live intentionally. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." These habits are your chance to embody that ideal, not perfectly, but persistently. Remember, the key is not to try everything at once. Start small. Choose one habit to practice this week and commit to it fully. Wake up earlier, savor your meals, or take time to thank someone in your life. As these habits take root, they will begin to transform not just your days, but your entire outlook on life. I encourage you to share your stories in the comments below. Which habit resonates most with you? What changes have you noticed? Your journey may inspire someone else to start theirs. If you found value in these lessons, please like this video and subscribe to Stoic Narratives Official for more insights to help you live a life of meaning and resilience. Together, let's grow, evolve, and thrive.